Hell today, everyone. Today, I'll be sharing to you some of the instructional strategies that we may apply in our classroom setting, or should I say, in our online class. But before that, I'll be giving you ideas what is this teaching English in the fourth industrial revolution. So, teaching English in the fourth industrial revolution simply discuss on the emerging technologies and industry, the types of skills needed to succeed in a fast-changing world, the role of education, and how to plan education strategies for future changes in skills and work. Using technology has proven to be effective in teaching and learning English language. The era of the fourth industrial revolution is simply to understand the use and applicability of various technologies with our 21st century learners. So, for today's video, let us identify the instructional strategies in teaching English in the fourth industrial revolution, and also let us define and give examples on it. So first is flipped classroom. It is considered as one of the instructional strategies in the fourth industrial revolution. But what is this flipped? Flipped classroom is an instructional strategy and type of blended learning which aims to increase student engagement and learning by having students complete readings at their home and work on live problem solving during class time. So when we say flipped classroom, it is a model that is based on the idea that traditional teaching is inverted in the sense that what is normally done in class is being flipped or switched with normally done by the students out of class. Thus, instead of students listening to a lecture in class and then going home to work on a set of assigned problems, they read course literature and assimilate lecture material through video at home, and also engage in teacher-guided problem solving, analysis, and discussions in class. So again, it is clear now that the flipped classroom is inverted in the sense that what is normally done in class is being flipped or switched with what is normally done by the students out of class. Okay, let's proceed to the examples of flipped classroom. The first is we have the standard inverted classroom. Students are assigned the homework of watching video lectures and reading any materials relevant to the next day's class. During class time, students practice what they've learned through traditional schoolwork with our teachers freed up for additional one-on-one time. So, in this standard inverted classroom, the learners are instructed to watch video lectures as their homework and serve also as advanced study of the lesson for the next class. So it is quite the same with the traditional setup. Students still learn their traditional schoolwork. So the next example of flipped classroom is we have the discussion-oriented flipped classroom. So what is this all about? Teachers assign lecture videos as well as any other video or reading related to the day's subject, like TED Talks, YouTube videos, and other resources. So in the discussion-oriented flipped classroom, the teachers still give lecture videos for them to watch, and they can now relate already with the topic. So in class time, the subject will now be explored and discussed. This can be an special useful approach in subjects where context is everything, such as history, art, or English. The third example is the demonstration-focused flipped classroom. Okay. So in this model, the teacher uses screen recording software to demonstrate the activity in a way that allows students to follow along at their own pace. So especially for those subjects that require students to remember and repeat activities exactly, you think chemistry, physics, and just about every math class, it is most helpful to have a video demonstration to be able to rewind and rewatch the lesson. So again, it is advantage to our learners because they will be able to rewind and rewatch the lesson. The fourth example of a flipped classroom is we have the full flipped classroom. This flipped classroom model has those students watch lecture video in class, giving them the opportunity to review materials at their own pace, with the teacher able to move from student to student to offer whatever individual support each young learner needs. So with this full flip, students are given the chance and opportunity to watch the video while the teacher can follow up with the other students and can address what the other students need. The fifth one is the group-based flipped classroom. This model adds a new element to help students learn each other. The class starts the same way with lecture videos and other resources shared before class. So the shift happens when students come to class, teaming up to work together on that day's assignment. This format encourages students to learn from one another and helps students to not only learn but what the right answers are, but also how to actually explain to a peer why those answers are right. The sixth one is we have the virtual flipped classroom. So for older students and in some courses, the flipped classroom can eliminate the need for classroom time at all. Some college and university professors now share lecture videos for student viewing, assign and collect work via online learning management systems, and simply require students to attend office hours or other regularly scheduled time for brief one-on-one instruction based on that individual student's needs. So I would say that what we are doing right now is an example of virtual flipped classroom, since we will just watch lecture videos and answer the schoolwork through Google Room. And also, we have synchronous and asynchronous class for the professor to give instructions and to address students' needs. So the last example of flipped classroom is we have flipping the teacher. All the video created for a flipped classroom doesn't have to begin and end with the teacher. Students too can make use of video to better demonstrate proficiency. So assign students to their record practice role play activities to show competency, or ask each to film presenting a new subject or skill as a means to teach the teacher. This is one way to determine their proficiency in making videos. So that is why, in some schools, they let their students make a video to assess their proficiency as part of their performance output. So here are the steps in flipped classroom. Step 1. Plan. Nothing good ever comes if you don't have plan in place. Determine which lessons in particular you want to flip. Once decided, outline the key learning outcomes you want the students to take away when the lesson is complete. Having these objectives in place will guide your lesson plan. Step 2. Record. Once you have the learning objectives outlined, you can create the content. After the content is created, you should figure out how you want to deliver it. Recording a screencast is often the easiest way to get started. Make sure you include everything that you normally do in a regular class lecture. Next, step 3. Share. With the lesson content available for viewing, it's time to share it with the students. If you have a learning management system, this is quite easy. All you need to do is upload the video and then add your students to the course. You can then monitor the activity to make sure everyone is logging in to view the materials. Step 4. Confirm. You won't be able to monitor all student activity in real time from the learning management system you choose. So you should set up a mechanism that confirms the student has viewed the content. A simple end of lecture quiz, the points of which will be added to the activity, is a good place to start. This will also make it possible for you to deliver on the next step more effectively. Step 5. Group and monitor. So most activities will require that you group your learners. Using the outcomes from the quiz, you can now group students who have a stronger grasp on the concepts with those who may need some additional coaching. As the learners go through the activity, make yourself available to provide guidance and to ensure everyone is progressing. Step 6. Debrief. At the end of the activity, bring all groups back together so that you can debrief the key objectives you outlined in Step 1. Ask questions to the learners and foster a discussion rather than a lecture. So, our second instructional strategy is blended learning. What is this blended learning? It is generally applied to the practice of using both online and in-person learning experiences when teaching students. Blended learning combines face-to-face teaching and online instruction, ideally with leveraging the strengths of each. So it is very simple because we combine or we blend the two practices, the online instruction or online class and the in-person learning experience or the so-called face-to-face teaching. So that is why it is being called blended learning. So we have here the top 3 models of blended learning. The first one is the blended learning in the traditional classroom. So what is this all about? The main part, about 75% of the training, is delivered in a traditional classroom. The students have access to online platform for self-preparation. Example, the Schoology, and options for additional live online classes or consultations in a web conferencing virtual classroom. Example, you have there the Vidamo virtual classroom. So usually, the asynchronous platform is used for homework, additional study resources, individual tasks and assignments, self-assessment, and etc. The synchronous virtual classroom allows for catch-up classes, flexible office hours, connected classrooms, online guest teachers, additional support of students working above or below the average level. This model of blended learning is suitable for schools and traditional training providers who want to enhance and expand the classroom experience. Next is we have the blended learning, which relies on self-paced online instruction. Okay, example. The predominant method of instruction is the self-paced or asynchronous one. So this is up to 80%. This to improve the quality of asynchronous training, it can be combined with web conferencing sessions in a virtual classroom. So usually, it is suitable for larger groups of adult learners as it requires high level of self-directed learning skills. It is ideal for students who need more flexibility and independence in their daily schedules. And the advantage is the student can select content, time, and pace to study with, and they have more time to reflect on the content. The next one is we have the blended learning based on collaborative web conferencing. So I have here the example. The training is delivered mainly through web conference virtual classroom. It allows for live online interaction between a distant teacher and students, which is very similar to the traditional classroom experience but is not limited by the participant's location. So this model is widely used by online language academies, virtual schools for younger kids, vocational training, corporate trainings, and many others. So this learning in a highly interactive and safe online environment with many options for collaboration. So let's proceed to the steps of blended learning. Step 1. Define your blended learning strategy. So you need to determine first what is your blended learning strategy. If it is blended learning in the traditional classroom, self-paced online instruction, or collaborative web conferencing. Again, you're going to identify or determine first what is your blended learning strategy. Step 2. Clarify appropriate delivery. You need to consider the delivery method, if it is synchronous or asynchronous in delivery. Will the participants travel through the learning journey in groups or individually? So you need to clarify it first. Step 3. Determine learning modalities. Once you have determined the best delivery method to support the curriculum, you must now consider the variety of methods you can use to bring your blend to life. Say for example, printed or modular activity, or it could be the online instruction or the online class. Step 4. Building engagement. So it is very simple. You just have to make sure that all your participants or all your learners will be part of your lesson. Step 5. Plan for live virtual connections. So what you can do to create an engaging virtual session. First is plan pre-session engagement. This is for people who tune in early, have exercises, polls, and words puzzles program on a loop. Next, involve participants from the beginning. And the other one, make participation in such sessions mandatory. So our next instructional strategy is what we call CALL. CALL stands for the acronym of Computer Assisted Language Learning. Levy, 1997, defines CALL, or the Computer Assisted Language Learning, as the search for and study of applications of the computer in language teaching and learning. So CALL, or Computer Assisted Language Learning, simply means that it is a process in which a learner uses a computer and, as a result, improves his or her language, or improves the language of our learners or students. So in what way? In English class, we have the sentence pronunciation and phonetics exercises. A model sample sentence or word is shown and you listen to it, and then repeat as often as you wish, imitating the computer's model. Access to a large number of sentences and individual words for phonetics practice allows you to practice pronunciation for hours. So, like in the picture, we'll be able to pronounce the word correctly through imitating the sound of the computer. It also shows how to widely open our mouth for phonetics exercises. The next one is the genetic software. Applications designed for general purposes such as word processors or word presentation software, or that is what we call PowerPoint, and spreadsheet or Excel that can be used to support language learning. So in our daily teaching, it is very common to us now teachers the word processors, or what we call as Microsoft Word, the presentation software or the PowerPoint, and spreadsheet or the Excel. They are very useful in our work and makes it easier and faster. The third one is we have the web-based learning programs. Online dictionaries, online encyclopedias, online concordances, news magazine sites, web publishing, blog, Wikipedia, and etc. So through the advent of technology and in the fourth industrial revolution, we already have online sources or references like dictionaries, encyclopedias, blogs, and many others, just like this picture. So we have the online dictionaries, encyclopedias, and many others. Lastly, we have the computer mediated communication or CMC. So examples of this are online chat, Facebook, email, Twitter, discussion forum, and message board. So I know we are all familiar with this CMC program, especially the Facebook, email, and Twitter. So students nowadays are well equipped and picky in terms of technology. These CMC programs or the computer mediated communication programs are very useful nowadays, especially in online class, just like in the picture. So we're using here the messenger. So the students and the teacher can give conversation through the messenger. So our last instructional strategy is using Facebook. What is this Facebook? It is a social networking tool which allows groups and individuals to engage in peer-to-peer conversations and both to generate and exchange content online. So as we all know, there are a number of tools within Facebook, including a wall for posting comments, galleries for posting images, and messaging facilities. A news feed on the main page allows you to see the latest activity from all your friends. This can act as a useful aggregator of information for class collaboration. A number of additional tools or apps can also be added to enhance learning opportunities. Example, Twitter, Messenger, Instagram, and many others. So what are the key benefits? First is most students are familiar with the interface and are comfortable with using it, so it is easier to build into their routine. Second, encourages collaboration and communication among groups of all sizes. It extends the classroom and can assist you in helping manage your students' time. The last one has been employed successfully for induction, assessment, feedback, time management, and research management. Since Facebook is a very common tool for communication, that the students and teachers find it easier in communicating one another. So why we use Facebook? So first, of course, it is for references, links, and resources can be shared easily. Next is setting up a Facebook page or group is relatively easy. Integration with the mobile internet, examples, tablets, and smartphones, means students can engage with discussions and materials when they want to providing flexibility of delivery and access. So again, what are the 4 instructional strategies in the 4th Industrial Revolution? First is you have the flipped classroom. Second is you have the blended learning. The third one is you have the call, which means computer-assisted learning language. And the last one, you have there the Facebook. So, I hope you learned something in my lecture video. I am Hanna Mae S. Romquillo, your reporter for today. Thank you.